Hey guys, I just wanted to say before we get into the podcast today that our sponsor this month is Figurosity.com. If you're into drawing and you need some models to work from, these are 3D generated computer models of different genders and sizes of people. You can turn them, you can change the lighting, and it's a great website with lots of options. So if you go to Figurosity.com, you can sign up, and using the coupon code Anatomy101, you get $5 off, which equals to about a free month. And it's a great artist tool and a great way to practice. You can even kind of set up a series of drawings, so kind of a timed drawing type thing. And it's very similar to our figure drawing groups. That's why they like to sponsor us, and we love to have them as sponsors again and again. So thank you again to Figurosity.com, and that is coupon code Anatomy101. So now let's get into the podcast. That's the most dismissive go I've ever seen. Welcome back, Inebri-arts. This is Andy of the Inebri-art podcast, and we are at the craft beer cellar, and I'm making fish cry because, I have joy in life. And so I reached out to today's guest, who's been nominated for a Boston Music Award, Brandie Blaze. Welcome to the show.
Hi, thanks for having me.
So I'm vaguely familiar with the Boston Music Awards. It's kind of like the local music scene, honoring local musicians. How did you get nominated? Like,
I have no idea. No.
Well, I mean, so like you hear things about like the Oscars, and there's like a lot of like campaigning and it's political. Is this just like people were like, you rock, or do you have to like submit stuff, or like how does it?
So the category, I was actually nominated for two Boston Music Awards. The first one that I was nominated for is the 617 Sessions Artist of the Year, and that's kind of a special category because they put out a compilation of 10 artists. Mm-hmm. They give us free studio time.
Oh wow!
So shout out to the Bridge Studio. We recorded everything there. They record the whole process. It's amazing. So I applied for that, and I was one of the 10 people that was picked.
Yep.
So my song is on that compilation, and then it's also a category in the Boston Music Awards. So there's that one, and then for the other one, I'm on one of the songs nominated for Song of the Year. It's a song I did.
Congratulations!
Thank you.
Yeah.
It's a song I'm featured on. It's a song by Oompa on her new album Cleo, and that one, I was completely shocked. And I know there's like a committee of 400 people, but I have...
Oh, wow. That's awesome.
So that's how the nominations are picked. I have no idea who's on it.
So like in a year's time, you're going to be like emailing us being like, please take down that episode. I don't want to be associated with you guys anymore. Big time.
No, never that. I won't say anything too compromising and be like, hey, famous now. You got to take that down. No.
So how did you get involved in music? Like, was it an early on thing? Like, how'd you get here?
I started performing at 3, which I guess is pretty uncommon. Or maybe not. I started out with dancing.
Yeah.
I think a lot of toddlers, dance or do gymnastics or things like that. And I wanted to be a singer as a kid. The problem is that I can't sing. So that's a pretty big stumbling block to a singing career.
You got nominated for Song of the Year.
I mean, it wasn't my singing though. It was definitely my rapping.
Yeah.
But I really wanted to be a singer. Couldn't really sing. I started writing poetry in junior high, and I just kind of naturally transitioned into rapping instead. I love hip hop. Like, always been a huge hip hop head. And then I've been pursuing it seriously for about 6 years.
Yeah.
And it's been a crazy, crazy journey. Like, there's a whole underground hip hop scene that I feel like a lot of people don't know about, but also a lot of people know about.
Like here?
Yeah, definitely in Boston. Yeah, for sure.
That's so weird, because that was going to be like my next question is like, how did you kind of, maybe it's just, middle class white guy. I know rock musicians and Grateful Dead cover bands, and they get gigs all the time. So there's an underground scene. Like, how does one find out about this underground scene, and like who's on it, and like how did you get involved? So
I think like if you just are into hip hop, I think a lot of us just kind of gravitate towards what's happening here. Dutch Rebel was like the first big female rapper I ever saw from here. She's someone that's like been on MTV, has been on Shade 45, things like that. And she was a big deal. And the first time I ever saw her, she was on the cover of Boston Magazine. I said, wow, she's like fly and she could rap. So I was like, okay, maybe there is a scene out here. And then, you meet one person, then it kind of leads into you meeting another person. Yeah. And then, you just kind of fall into the circle. And then you're like, wow, it's all these people. And there's also just different subsections of the hip hop scene. That's how big it is. Yeah. Is that I actually got my start on the South Shore, not even in Boston.
Whereabouts?
I started out in Quincy.
Okay.
And Brockton is where I really first started.
Picturesque Brockton.
Yes.
I used to work in Brockton.
And that club is actually got shut down. The first club I ever did a show at, because I think they were drug trafficking through there.
No.
Right. Shock.
In Brockton?
Right? Shocking, right?
I remember... Oh, I'm going to call this place out because I don't ever go there. I used to work in Brockton, and everyone used to hang out at this place called the Iron Horse. Mm-hmm. And they're all like, oh, let's go to the Iron Horse. I'm like, fine. And I've never been in a bathroom like it. There's no stall doors. Just concrete walls in between the toilets. And I walked into the bathroom, and there's a dude standing on the middle toilet, and there's like a crowd of people around him, and he's like administering little baggies, and I'm just like, oh, don't kill me. I just want to pee.
Like, I didn't see anything. Yeah. I don't know anything.
Yeah. So what place in Brockton? I mean, they got shut down. What place in Brockton?
Max Blues.
I don't know that place. Oh, I do know that place.
Yeah.
It had like a really fancy front, right?
Yeah.
Oh.
That's the first place I ever performed.
That's crazy. I know exactly what you're talking about.
So, yeah, they don't exist anymore, but Maggie's Lounge in Quincy is still there. And I really got a big start there. And then from there, I was able to kind of branch out into Boston. Boston hip-hop scene was a little bit harder for me to break into. Like, Mark Maron used to do, when Church Boston was open, it's closed now, too. He used to do something called Motivate Monday. So everyone knew it was like all these, like the dopest local hip hop artists would be there every Monday. And I would go because I couldn't get on stage. So that wasn't happening. No one knew who I was. They're like, yeah, okay. But I knew that once the club closed, people would be wanting to do a cypher outside. So that's like how...
Sorry. Middle-class white guy question. What the hell's a cypher?
So a cypher is when a bunch of people stand around and rap. You either have somebody beatboxing or someone plays a beat, or you go a cappella, but it's just a bunch of people. You just stand around, freestyle rap. And that's a big part of hip hop. So I knew that they did that every Monday when the club closed. So I would go and just to jump in that cypher, because that was really the only way I knew to get noticed. Yeah. And people started to notice me from there. And then I would go to open mics, and it just kind of built up from there.
And... is that the usual way in? Is that...
I think that's a very classic hip-hop story. Yeah. I don't think it's typical really anymore. I think a lot of people that are mainstream and get big now, they go viral. Right. So it's much more of an online presence. They get a lot of streams, or they get a lot of clicks on SoundCloud. And that's how a lot of people get really popular now. But I think that's more how I was able to build a career here, is much more of an old school way.
It's really fascinating to me, all the evolution of music careers now. Is there's oh my God, she just was on Saturday Night Live. Her name's Billie something or other.
Billie Eilish.
Thank you. I was not going to be able to get that name. Never heard of her before until she popped up on a YouTube video from a channel that I watch, and now she's everywhere.
Right.
It's so. Do you try to like leverage the do you have a YouTube channel? Is that where people can find you as well, or?
I have all of those things, but the way that I've been able to build a following and to be able to book shows has always been my live act. Like, that's my strongest suit. I have an incredible DJ. Her name is DJ Sham. She's also nominated for a Boston Music Award for DJ of the Year.
Yeah.
She's more popping than I am. Okay, she's way more popular than me. She hates when I say that, but it's true.
More the reason to say it, yeah.
Right, because she hates it. So of course I'm gonna keep saying it because it's true. But the live aspect of it is how I was able to really get people to buy into what I was doing. Mm-hmm. There's always a lot of barriers, and I'm sure it's like this in most genres. There's some type of barrier where certain people have a harder time getting acceptance. In hip hop, it happens to be being a woman.
I was going to say, is that...
Yes, that makes it hard. I'm also a plus size woman. That makes it hard too. And...
Do you feel like it's easier than it used to be with people like, Queen Latifah and Salt and Pepper? I mean... Obviously, they must have had some sort of influence, and
they're all huge. They're all huge influences of mine for sure. I think it's starting to get easier. There was just a long period in hip hop where like Nicki Minaj was really the only mainstream female rapper for a very, very long time. Yeah. Now we're going back to like that early mid late 90s. Where there were a lot of female artists and they were all different. They looked different. They had different messaging. We're starting to get more back in that time. And especially here in Boston, there's a lot of female rappers out here that are incredible. I could talk all day about female rappers out here. There's plenty that I think are better than me. Yeah. I know in hip hop is kind of the thing to be like, I'm the best. Like, I've never been that way.
I think you're kind of losing on that. You're supposed to like...
Yeah, you have to get
trash
props.
people. And,
right.
Yeah.
I'm just not... That's just not my personality. Yeah. So someone like Oompa, like Red Shades... like Dutch Rebel, those are female rappers from here, still based here, that have incredible followings that I really look up to, and I have no problem saying they're better than me lyrically, because that's just how I feel. And I think that we're finding a way to build community with each other. Yeah. In a way that I haven't really seen done here, and especially not with male rappers. No disrespect, but they're just not about building the community like we are, where we're like, we all know each other. Right. We'll help each other out. When we have connections, we pass those along. We help each other book shows. We try to book shows together. We do music together. That's an amazing thing. And I think it's really just coinciding with what's happening in the mainstream. Yeah. It's the same thing in the mainstream is happening here, which is just that there's a lot of women now being like, hey, this is what I'm doing. And we can all coexist and get along and be friends on top of it and make great music. I think it's amazing.
I always thought that was an interesting feature to hip hop music where you have, this is a Wiz Khalifa song featuring this person, yes. Featuring this person. I think that's a really cool thing is, in rock, when that happens, they just call it a new band. Right. Why do you think that's why do you think that's different?
I think it just comes from the way that hip hop was starting, in New York and the Bronx, in parks, in parties, with people collaborating together. I think because it's been that way since the beginning, it's natural for that just to continue. It's like one of the cornerstones of hip hop is like the collaboration. Right. Like, I can battle you or I could work with you and we can make something even better. Like, I think that's dope. So a lot of us are really trying to go back to that atmosphere of like, let's work together. There's a lot of resources out here. There's surprisingly more venues that are willing to book us now than ever before. That was always a struggle with hip hop in Boston, was venues. That's starting to get better. So then it's kind of like, well, one of us is getting through the door, hold that door open behind you and bring everyone else behind you in the door with you. So that's kind of what's happening right now. And hopefully that transcends to everyone. We could do that. But for now, if it's just the women, it's just the women. Oh, well.
Yeah. But it's one of those things is like, you see it all the time with, the British invasion, grunge music coming out of Seattle. Like when one band hits, everyone kind of automatically looks, or one act, I should say,
hits, everyone kind of looks to that area and be like, ooh, is there something new going on there?
Yeah.
So it almost makes sense that, you kind of build that community because, like, hey, even if it's not me,
it might be you.
It might be you, and maybe I'll work with you, and you can bring me along with you.
I wish more people understood that, and that's how I look at it as well. I'm like, if my friend wins, how's that not a win for me?
Right.
Because one, that's my friend, and she's talented, and she deserves it, but also that helps me.
Right.
Because she'll bring me through the door behind her. Like,
right.
So why would
when
not
they go
cheer
on
for
tour,
everybody?
They're going to need an opening act.
And I'll be like, here I am, free and available, right?
Yeah.
Like,
and I'll be like, do you remember the Inebri-art podcast? And you'd be like, no. I'm like, damn it.
Nah, y'all going to have to come out on the road.
We could go on the road. Fish, you want to go on the road? We could borrow Haley's van.
I might need a ride too, but at least on the first one, the first tour is the worst.
Oh yeah. We've actually been really lucky and got to interview some bands that are touring, and they're it's not Aerosmith. I don't know why they're the first band I thought of. But they're the bands that are touring in a van, and that's always a fun conversation to be like, so what's the van like? And they're like, ugh.
I mean, I feel like that might be a step up for me because when I go out on the road, I'm gonna be touring in a Malibu, so at least I got a little bit more room to stretch out.
Yeah. Is that kind of like the next thing you're looking for, or do you?
I'm definitely looking to expand outside of New England.
Yeah.
I feel really good about the position that I was able to carve out for myself here. I get a lot of support here, a lot of love here. And I think it's just time for me to start branching out beyond New England. I think I'm ready for it, and it's time to go. I ain't getting any younger. You know what I'm saying? So while I still got halfway decent knees, I need to take advantage of it and do everything I can do. I want to be based in Boston though. I actually live right outside of Boston now. I live in Newton. But my dream has always been not to have to move to Atlanta, New York, or LA to do hip hop, to be able to live here in Mass.
I suppose Atlanta's. I'm like, is Atlanta big? And
Atlanta's huge. So that's my dream, is really to be able to still live in Massachusetts, but still be able to make a living and go out on the road and do my music, but still live here. That's always been a big thing for me. And
so there's venues in towards Boston.
Yes.
Not obviously, you said not a ton. And I'm sure it's probably because I'm not looking, Are there venues more on the sticks, like down here on the South Shore, up on the North Shore, out west? Or is it?
They're everywhere. They're literally everywhere. Every region in Massachusetts, you can find a hip-hop show. It's just kind of, do you know where to look?
No.
So that makes it hard. Like places like Maggie's and Quincy. There's Worcester is really big. Joyner Lucas.
Worcester's got a really cool vibe going on in general.
Yeah, so Worcester has a really big scene, especially thanks to Joyner Lucas. In Boston, there's quite a few. In Revere, there's quite a few. I've been all over Mass. I've been out to Salem several times. I've been to New Hampshire. There's a lot of places. It just happens to be more of the smaller places.
Yep.
For outside of Boston, but now in Boston, a lot of the bigger venues, like you have Oberon and the Sinclair, and Brighton Music Hall and places like that are becoming more welcoming of hip hop and really booking us and giving those spaces. My friend Oompa sold out the Sinclair in Harvard Square. That's a big deal for a local artist, period, but especially for a hip hop artist, where that's a huge space with several hundreds capacity.
Yeah. And that's one of those money talks. They'll be like, I don't know that you sell it, and you're like, okay, you're welcome back anytime.
Exactly. But it goes back to the win for her is a win for us, because that helps all of us, because now it's on the table. An artist from Roxbury can sell out this venue that you use for touring acts and things like that. Someone from here that does rap can sell that out. That's huge for all of us. It gives all of us a bargaining chip to show, hey, at the end of the day, people might not want to deal with hip hop, but people want to deal with money.
Right.
So if I could sell out your venue, you're going to deal with me, whether you like me or not.
Do you think there's a definite stigmatism towards hip hop? Because I feel like there's venues that might just be like, oh, I don't want the treble. Do you feel like that's
absolutely. That's a huge problem. Massachusetts is so liberal yet so conservative.
It's so weird, man.
Weirdest
and the
thing,
South
right?
Shore is the word. I love it, but it is a little island of red in a sea of blue.
When I lived down south, I tried to explain this, and people it wasn't real. They weren't really comprehending what I was saying. I was like, yeah, it's liberal, it's great. Like, we're the first in the country to legalize gay marriage, and we have all, we're the model for Obamacare and all these great, amazing liberal things, right? But then it's super conservative to where you couldn't get a tattoo in Massachusetts till 2000?
Something like that, yeah.
Because I remember my mom taking me with her to New Hampshire to go get a tattoo.
Yeah.
So you couldn't, we're just super conservative as well. So that doesn't really help. Like I said, it's the money. So now that people, and I think that's just historically how hip hop has been. Hip hop was very underground and localized, and the major labels didn't want to deal with it because it was so new. They started dealing with it because they saw the money.
Right.
So it's the same thing happening here.
Money makes the world go round. I remember when I was a kid, and it was forever ago.
It wasn't that long ago. It's 12 years ago?
I love you.
I know.
You're my favorite guest ever. You're welcome back anytime. You listened to pop or metal or rap.
Yeah.
There was no go between. And I was right on that where Run DMC crossed over with Aerosmith and Public Enemy and Anthrax. That was right in the sweet spot of my childhood. So
that's a good place to be.
Well, yeah. Dude, I still love that Anthrax Public Enemy song. But at that time, there was no crossover. Do you see more crossover in the crowds now?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
I'll do shows where I'm the only black person
in
the entire place. Or I'll do shows where I'm the only rapper.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I've done plenty of shows where I was the only rapper. Or I'll do shows where I'm the only female rapper. One thing I really love about hip-hop is just how universal it has become.
Yeah.
In that no matter what else is going on, we can vibe together over this music. At least in this moment, we can vibe together and have a great time and enjoy this good music. I feel like I was also very fortunate enough to, when I was in high school, to be friends with a lot of really cool kids. Now, we might have been a little nerdy. But now looking back, I'm like, wow, we really were cool kids. They introduced me to Nirvana and things like that. So it's we're listening to Jay-Z and the Diplomats and Nirvana.
Right.
And this is in the 2000s. So Kurt Cobain had been dead for a long time before I first heard a Nirvana song. And I listened.
It's not my favorite guest anymore.
But I think that was just kind of my introduction to genres that weren't hip hop or R&B.
Yeah.
I was very much raised on R&B. My mom also was someone that never censored the music I listened to. So I could listen to anything I wanted. No questions asked. So I actually listened to a lot of Lil' Kim really young.
The only thing I ever had, I don't even know if censored's the right word, I was told to turn down, was Body Count.
Oh, wow.
My dad's
you were a badass kid.
My dad's he says motherfucker a lot. I'm like, yeah, he does. He's like, you need to turn that down. I'm like, all right. It was a great band.
That's amazing.
Yeah. I loved metal, and that was kind of that cool. Like I said, I've always been fascinated with. One of my favorite ways to work is in a collaboration with other people and to share ideas, and I always find that some of the best things come out of that, and my musical tastes I think reflect that. I've been big into a band that is a hardcore band that started playing mariachi music.
Wait, who is this?
Mariachi El Bronx.
I'm looking them up.
You should.
I have
They're
to.
great.
Well, with that, how can I not?
I went to see Flog and Molly, and they opened up for them, and I'm like, these guys are really good.
Like,
so they have their hardcore music.
Right.
And then they have their mariachi music, and it's just mariachi music. Like, it's
not even like tinged with like a little.
Not really.
They're
It's
like,
pretty
oh,
straightforward, but you're like, damn, that's really good.
I have to hear them.
And
it's
like
amazing.
we've been able to interview a couple bands that I've really enjoyed their music. Gangsta Grass, which is a bluegrass hip hop band.
Wait, I'm learning so much.
This is one of those
I have to look them up too. Yes,
they're great. And then like their same PR person reached out to us because they had another hip hop brass band called the Lowdown Brass Band out of Chicago, and it's a New Orleans kind of jazz band with an MC.
Amazing.
Yeah, and it's like that's the stuff I love.
Immediately.
I'll send you some links.
Please.
But to me, I love that kind of music. Is that anything like? Have you ever aspired to that? Like, do you want to work with like a death metal band, or like is that something on your list? Or?
I'm really open.
Is
to,
it
like,
now?
I mean, it's gonna take me some time. My best friend from high school, Priscilla. Shout out to her. I love her so much. She was definitely the person that introduced me to like a lot of rock music. So like because of her, I got to listen to like System of a Down and Rage Against the Machine.
Ooh, System of a Down's supposed to be going back on tour, I think.
Okay, but I want to go. So because of her, I really got, that was like my first introduction into it. I'm still trying to get into the death metal. I get scared though.
I'm not a big death metal fan.
You know, like one time, I'll never forget, she had left me in her car. She went in the store. And like, you know, this is a while ago. Lord, I'm dating myself, but she had like an iPod.
You're dating yourself.
I know, by referencing an iPod, right? How I'm a million
Let's go back to when Kurt Cobain was alive, damn it.
But she had like the iPod shuffle and it was on, right? And she goes, oh, okay, I'm gonna run the store. I said, okay, cool. And it was, we had been listening to something else, like maybe it was like a really old R&B song, okay?
Yeah.
And then like the next song comes on and it's like this crazy like death metal, like they're screaming, you know, they're doing
screamy angry music,
you know. And then I'm sitting in the car, I was like, and I'm alone and it's dark, and I was like, oh my gosh. She gets back in the car and I swear I had to have been like pale. She was like, she's like, are you okay? I was like, turn it off now. So maybe not that far, but I love rock music.
So this is apropos of nothing, but I'm going to talk about my favorite random setting on an iPod ever. One of the places we visit all the time is Lucioso's down here, and one of the owners, Gabe, had his iPod or phone on, like plugged into the sound system, and he was playing music on random. And so you're you know, the music's on, but you're not like really thinking about it. It's there, and we're talking, and all of a sudden you're like, is this fucking Lion King? What the hell is going on? And he's like running over to the iPod to like hit next. And we're like, what is on your iPod? He's like, I don't want to talk about it.
It's like, you know, you have like I used to make like the playlists.
Yeah.
So I could play those in the car because those were songs I wouldn't be embarrassed
Right. That's
by.
always what's a song that you'd be embarrassed by? Like, what do you listen to that you're like, I'll tell you, one that I used to have that I'm like, I don't, you know. I sing that in the car when no one else is around.
I don't judge.
Is Ewan McGregor's cover of Elton John from what's that movie? Moulin Rouge.
What?
Yeah, it's really good.
Wait, that's a thing that exists?
Yeah, it is. Have you ever seen Moulin Rouge? It's great.
I have.
And I'm not even a musicals fan. Fish is judging me.
I think for me, it's not that embarrassing, but it could kind of mess up your gangsta mood. But I really love Steven Universe, so I have like all the soundtracks on my Spotify. So yeah, it could get real interesting on the shuffle.
So is that something that you kind of have to like think about? Like, is Image like big in the hip hop community?
I think Image is big in music in general.
Yeah.
It's something that I am learning because I've just always, as I've gotten older, I've gotten looser at the lips.
Yeah.
So that can get me in trouble sometimes. So I'm trying to find a good balance of what can I say in public that people will think it's funny, because I do try to be funny, at least on my social media. And what is me doing too much or exposing too much about myself? Because I'm also really private.
I don't know what that's like, about saying something and you're like, that was supposed to be funny. Why is she mad?
Yeah, so like I'm super private. Like no one knows who I'm dating or anything like that. Like, which is like such a pompous thing to say for like a local artist. But I just don't like people in my business.
Yeah, no, I get it.
But yeah, I'm trying to find the good line. Like, I do have a publicist, my good friend Amanda Shea. She works as my publicist, and sometimes I'll have to hit her up and be like, "Hey, I'm about to say something that might be a little crazy. Is this okay?"
And she's like, "Oh God, please don't do that."
No, if I think we've gotten to the point where it's like, if I have to ask, the answer is no.
Yeah.
Like,
there's a reason why you're calling me.
They're like, don't post. She's like, Brandie, what is wrong? Don't post that shit. I'm like, but it's controversial and funny.
But I really wanna. So how do you start to write a rap? Does it start as a poem? Do you start with a beat?
I start with beats.
Yeah.
I've tried to get back into writing poetry, so I have written a few just to kind of keep my pen a little sharp in that area, but I haven't really done it in a long time. When I write music, my flow is very much guided by the beat.
Yeah.
So I'm someone that really likes to ride the beat, and use that to my advantage in how I do my delivery. So I always start with the beat. I write hooks like pretty fast. So I always start with that. That's how I know if I like a beat.
Yeah.
If someone plays it for me and I write a hook instantly, I said, that's it. I have to have that. And I'm going to write the rest of the song. Because I can write a hook in about maybe like 3 to 5 minutes.
Yeah.
So I think, yeah, that's pretty fast. So
faster than I could.
I take forever
Fish,
on verses.
Google what hook is.
That's the chorus.
Yeah.
But yeah, I take forever on writing verses though.
Yeah.
So it kind of even out.
when you're freestyling or shit, what did you call it again? Outside of club.
Cypher, yeah.
Cypher, thank you. So to be able to like come up with the words on the spot, like do you subscribe to, like, it's gonna sound so stupid. This is such a stupid question. Do you subscribe to like word of the day emails? Like how do you?
I do.
Because I feel like that's what I would do to be like, I need more words.
I mean, I'm also just a nerd, so I would do that even if I wasn't a rapper.
That's kind of ruining your street cred.
I know.
Do you want to like call your publicist to make sure it's okay to say
I
that?
have no street cred. I never did. I'm a marshmallow. I'm a super nice person. And I like books and video games, so I'm a big nerd. I actually use a lot of if you listen to my music, there's a surprisingly high number of Simpsons references.
Really?
Yeah.
That's
I'm a huge Simpsons. Well, I have a Simpsons tattoo. I'm pretty serious about it. But I just I read a lot.
But I just hear some rappers, and you always think of them as kind of, you know, inner city, being from the streets, because I think that's part of the image they're cultivating. And then they'll throw down some words, and you're like, I have to look that up. I don't know what that is. You know, and maybe I shouldn't be. Maybe again, I try not to be middle class white guy, but I am. So, am I wrong for being surprised that they have a better vocabulary than me? Is that?
I would say
it's an honest question. Am I a bad person for thinking that?
I don't think you're a bad person for thinking that, but I do think it's wrong to be surprised. I'm from Dorchester. My mom is from Roxbury.
Yeah.
So I'm from part of Dorchester I'm from isn't that rough, but I've lived in public housing, so I've lived in some rough areas. My mom is the smartest person I know. Some of the smartest people I know come from areas like me. I think the unfortunate part is that we just don't have the same opportunities.
You're right.
That's really the only difference. You'll find smart people in the suburbs, you'll find smart people in the hood. You'll find dumbasses in the suburbs, you'll find dumbasses in the hood.
And
like,
I don't mean it to sound like smart versus dumb, because I don't think vocabulary is necessarily, I mean, you can there's some
dumbasses with a big vocabulary.
Yeah, exactly. And there's people who work with their hands, you know, who dropped out of high school that don't have a great vocabulary, who can figure shit out that I'm still looking at them like, I don't know how you made that work. So I don't really find it as a I didn't mean it. Again, I tried to not make it sound like a terrible question. As it was coming out, I'm like, this might be a terrible question. But it's to be able to come up with these words like so quickly, and it's more. I meant it more as, do you look to learn more words to kind of add to your arsenal? I'm sure that's not
absolutely.
how that question came out, but that's how I kind of intended it.
No, absolutely. Like I said, I'm a nerd, so it's something that I would just naturally want to do anyway. I do get the word of the day emails because I just like those type of things. I use a thesaurus when I write.
Yeah.
Because that is surprisingly helpful.
Yeah, you would think so, because if you want to say something but you need it to rhyme in a fashion.
Right, then it's like, how do I say this a different way? And I think, like, there was, I can't remember where I seen it, but there was, like, the study done, and it was, like, hip-hop actually, out of all genres of music, has the biggest vocabulary.
That's what I was trying to say.
So, and it's just because
in a way that I don't have the vocabulary to say.
But it's just because when you think about it, one, depending on how you rap, you might need a lot more words.
Yeah.
Well, you definitely need a lot more words as someone that sings and can stretch things out.
Mm-hmm.
You really only have your voice. And yeah, you can play with your delivery and pauses and stops, but generally there's just going to be more words.
Right.
Period. In a 16-bar verse than a verse on a regular song with a singer. There's going to be more words because you're speaking.
And you need those kind of...
And it has to rhyme.
But you also want those kind of references so you can get across your meaning, maybe like referencing something political or something like Simpsons.
Absolutely.
So you can express an idea very quickly.
I think the way that people do like similes and metaphors is very much like your signature. Like the type of references you come up with, the type of, like I said, metaphors and similes and things like that, is very much like personality driven, and it's so different from every single MC, because I'm someone that, I might have more pop culture references, and like cartoon references and things like that, because that's just like what I'm into. Someone else might have more, like philosophical references, and you're like, wait a minute, pause the record, I need to Google what that means really quick, because what is that? It's just a really personal thing. I think I just tend to be a goofy person.
Yeah. And
I like to make people laugh, so I sometimes say crazy things that I know that people laugh at.
If your publicist says it's okay.
Yes.
So what's the dream gig? Like, is there one thing where you're like, I'd love to open for this person or play this place or, be on MTV? Like, what's the dream?
My dream always kind of varies. My biggest dream is just to be able to make a living doing music.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm able to have a good life for myself and my family. That's the biggest dream. If I dream like as big as possible, I would say I definitely want to do the House of Blues here.
Okay.
It's one of my favorite venues. It's huge.
That used to be the Avalon, right?
I think
remember?
so.
Yeah.
Yeah, back in the days by Fenway, right?
I don't like the way you said back in the days.
I mean,
you mean
listen,
not that long ago?
Right, like 2 weeks ago. I look young. I'm older than I look.
You used to be on my list of favorite podcast guests.
I'm gonna get back on there by the end of the
all
episode.
Right.
Okay,
we'll wrap it up.
But actually, if I make top 3 in the 617 Sessions Artist of the Year category, I get to perform at the House of Blues in December, because that's where the Boston Music Awards is.
Nice. And that's what they announce them in December.
Yes, so it's at the ceremony. I'll get to perform there. So I'm like, please vote for me. Hi, even if you don't know me, just vote for me because I'm nice, right? And then I would say probably TD Garden or like Comcast Center, which used to be
it's like Great Woods.
Yes.
She didn't know.
Something.
She didn't know.
It was something. Like
Tweeter Center. Yeah. Yep. No, was it Tweeter? Yeah, Tweeter Center.
So
I didn't even know it was changed after that.
Those are like my big goals, because I remember
I love
Boston. I love being from here.
I remember the Comcast/Tweeter Center when there was a lawn in the lawn seats.
Is there not a lawn anymore?
No, it's all gravel.
Really?
It hasn't been a long time.
I haven't been there in years.
During Lollapalooza, they tore it up and burnt it. And then they're like, "Oh, that's not okay for you to burn the lawn."
Well, yeah, I can agree with that.
Yeah, I suppose, but it was a rowdy crowd. What do you want?
You invite that type of crowd in, you should expect your grass on fire.
Right? Yeah. I mean, it's an all-day concert, and you had Ministry playing. It's like that's gonna happen. What has been like your most fun kind of like is this real life moment?
I think definitely.
I love those.
I definitely got asked to sign someone's boobs.
Really?
Yeah, it was great.
Fish, that's never happened to us.
If it hasn't, I highly recommend. 10 out of 10 would recommend. It was great.
Yeah.
I had.
Yeah, but I can't offer. I can't be like, "Hey, do you want me to sign your boobs?"
No,
like,
you
Who
can't.
are you?
Because that makes you a creep, right? You have to just like
All
wait
right.
for the opportunity to
Okay.
arise.
Don't offer.
No,
Wait.
don't.
All right.
Because I feel like that's how you end up on like sex offender lists. Be like, yeah,
Yeah, probably.
You don't want that, no.
Or at least beat up.
But definitely that was I had opened for Still Gold. They're an amazing band. They fuse like rock and hip hop.
Yeah.
And they're based out of Boston. They're amazing, incredible. One of my favorite live acts. One of my favorite bands. Period. I got the opportunity to open for them. They had sold out the Oberon, which is also in Harvard Square. So that was a big deal. And just because I just idolized them so much, like opening for them was like a big deal for me. So that was already like, I'm already on like level 10 because I'm just so happy just to open for them.
Yeah.
And especially in front of that big of a crowd. And then afterwards, after they finish, I'm out on the floor, I'm trying to have a few drinks. This girl I know, she had told me that she had wanted me to sign her boobs before, but I didn't believe her. But she was serious this time. She had the Sharpie and just like whipped them out like straight up in the club. Just took them out. Was like, "Hey, what's up?" I was like, "Oh my God, I'm excited."
That would be a very weird day. I don't feel like there's a lot of that going on in podcasting.
We gotta get y'all to that. We're gonna get y'all to that level. We're gonna get some titties for y'all to sign.
All right, I'm down. I'm down for that. This is, I send out tons of emails asking people like, "Hey, can we get you on the podcast?" And when you get to those people that you don't know at all, and it's a complete cold call, for lack of a better word, you just never know how it's going to go. This was awesome.
Oh, thank you. I'm so
this
glad
was
you guys
so much
invited
fun.
me.
Yeah. I put my foot in my mouth and you didn't hit me. Great.
I'm a super nice person.
Yeah.
I tell everyone that I'm so nice. When I'm on stage, though,
it's different.
That's Brandie Blaze, and she's very aggressive. Like my thing is, when I'm on stage, I go for, I want you to be turned on and scared.
See,
that's what I'm going for. So
like
if you're both, that's a great. I did my job.
Yeah. So you're gonna send us some music to attach to this.
Absolutely.
Because I want people to hear this interview and then hear your music and be like, "That's not the same person."
No, that's exactly what's going to happen. They're going to be like, "That's definitely not her." What is that?
But where can people go online to check out your music? Is there YouTube, SoundCloud, Bandcamp, or MySpace page?
I tried to get into my old MySpace page, and then I couldn't get into my old AOL, so that dream died. But I'm on all the streaming services like Spotify, Apple, Tidal, Google, Amazon. I'm on SoundCloud. I'm on YouTube. All my social media is the same. It's just Brandie Blaze. I just spell it BRANDIE BLAZE. You can find me everywhere. Or just come to Boston. You'll see me around somewhere.
Yeah. I think it's fascinating. Like I said, I always find it interesting how much we don't know about the world around us, and I had no idea there was any kind of hip hop scene around here.
Now you know.
Yeah,
now I gotta connect you. Now I'm gonna start sending you flyers. Like, come on down.
You're sending me all these, or you're sending me. You're mentioning all these people. I'm like, oh, how come these people aren't on our podcast? Like,
you listen. I'm like,
we're out here.
I'm the plug.
We're out here in the sticks. We get like, and I love all our friends here in Plymouth, but we get the cover bands and the rocks and the folk musicians, and like we want everybody.
Not to toot my own horn, I do know quite a many, many, many rappers, but I know a lot of fantastic ones, and I'm really proud.
We should send them our way and be like,
I definitely will.
He's an idiot, but he's a nice guy.
Like, they treated me very well. I had a great time.
Awesome. It was an absolute blast. I loved having you on the show, and I wish you the best of luck with the Boston Music Awards and everything. But I mean, that's really exciting.
Please go vote for me.
So is this voted by like the people?
Yes. So
where do they go to vote?
You go to Boston.
Listen, listener. I don't care where you are. We have listeners all over. Go to
BostonMusicAwards.com
and vote for Brandie Blaze.
Yes, please. I'm begging you.
You don't have to beg. Be like tough.
No.
I'll come to your house and mess you up.
Yeah, you're gonna vote for me.
See, there you go. All right. So go vote. Obviously, she's a very cool person and deserves it. And we wish her the best of luck.
Thank you so much.
Brandie Blaze.
One, two, three, go! I'm a model, can't be my mic though. I'm a model, can't be my mic though. I'm a model, can't be my mic though. These hoes is all fake though.
I'm a model, can't be my mic though. I'm a model, can't be my mic though. I'm a model, can't be my mic though. These houses so fake though.
Already know that I'm pretty. Reppin' Boston, my city. Dressed in black on millies. Thinking fire, not really. Say your culture comes from here. Quizzy might change when in the fucking Henny. Spit like this, not many. Dick too small, that's a roll, a penny.
Head doctor, that's a hoe degree. Hit the pussy, that's a hoe fee. On my titty, and he got a ween. I'm a dividend on you, just a mean. Roll his face up till I scream. On my paper, legal money team. Beating off to my live stream.
At Brandie Blaze, follow me. I'm a model, can't be my mic though. I'm a model, can't be my mic though. I'm a model, can't be my mic though. These hoes is all fake though.
I'm a model, can't be my mic though. I'm a model, can't be my mic though. I'm a model, can't be my mic though. These hoes is so fake though.
That's Brandie with an I-E.
I'm your example like I-E. This pussy close like Wiley.
Some Carmen nigga can't find me.
Royalty is like Monaco. Real bougie ass Virgo. This pussy drip like Mako.
My nigga named me Undertow. Yeah. Top one and you can't compare. I slime on them like Double Dare. I'm jazzing niggas like Bel Air.
I'm your leader, I'm your mayor. These rappers learn from me, they care. This flow is ready, that's a nightmare.
I'm a stallion and you just a mare. I'm a model, can't be my mic though. I'm a model, can't be my mic though. I'm a model, can't be my mic though. These hoes is all fake though.
I'm a model, can't be my mic though. I'm a model, can't be my mic though. I'm a model, can't be my mic though. These hoes is so fake though. Hold up, let that rock. I'm a model, can't be my mate though. Sitting with your nigga while I'm counting out these pesos. Got him on his knees, cause he do what I say so. I don't care if he dies when I'm on his face though. Face though, face though, face though.
crying, begging, screaming out for help. Want to murder me, only looking out for self. But my fire's so strong, they can't do nothing melt. Now I float up on top, what they got to want to count? Whoa, damn, sick of swim, nigga. Homie felt, no good from the drama, but I still feel the welts. Used to cry, now I love the right, feeling all the pelts. Had to tighten up my shit like some belts. You'll stop me outside, flow, bitch, like some felt. Held me down, didn't give a fuck how I felt. No, now I'm a having that niggas like a fucking yo. Stomping on them in my high heels, nigga, yo. When you see that white lipstick, no, that's the kiss of death. You already dead inside, no Smith and Wesson. That's the legacy you left. Destroying everything around you just like some map. But you'll never kill me, musta fell and bump your head. All that no weak shit, nigga dead. Tried to destroy me so you could build some cred, but they'll never bleed for these niggas, call me Blaze Red. There's only one me. There's only one me. There's only one me. Used to cry behind the scenes, now when they come out they go scream. There's only one me. There's only one me. There's only one me. Used to cry behind the scenes, now when they come out they go scream. 19 with the face full of coke. That was the only way I knew to cope. Wanted to die, hanging from the rope. No more tears, nigga, no more fucking hope. No, I just switched my mental, like I had the stroke. Nigga used to beat me, hope that he choked on. All this rage from my throat. Never get close to me, had to build a moat. And you'll never kill me, musta fell and bump your head. All that old weak shit, nigga dead. Tried to destroy me so you could put some cred, but they'll never bleed for these niggas, call me Blaze Red. There's only one me. There's only one me. There's only one me. Used to cry behind the scenes, now when they come out they go scream. There's only one me. There's only one me. There's only one me. Used to cry behind the scenes, now when they come out they go scream.
Okay, thanks for checking out the podcast. And don't forget to check out our other podcasts on the Inebri-art Podcast Network. There's the Bar Talk. There's Old Colony Cast. There's, of course, the Inebri-art Podcast. And our latest, Retro Redoctopus, a kind of nerd genre podcast that you can check out now, all available on our website at inebri-art.com. And pretty much available everywhere that podcasts are available, on Stitcher, iTunes, Google Play, Apple Podcasts, all those things. And if you don't see it where you're looking, let us know. We'll try to get onto that as well. And you can also email us at inebri-art@yahoo.com with your questions, complaints, and suggestions. And also, if you could take the time to rate and review us on iTunes, that would be phenomenal. That helps us get more exposure and bring more of these great podcasts to your ears. And thanks again for listening.